kitchen.
See, your knife technique varies greatly from mine. I'm gonna copy that.
Yep.
Look at this.
Use the width of the blade
Okay.
Learning.
and just slice.
It's called learning.
It's all learning.
Crystal and Matt are hunting. Crystal is excited. Setting up a blind. Crystal and Matt are hunting. Opening up a big game brochure. Waving. Blowing up balloon. A family eating.
My first big game hunt, butcher and storage.
Matt is super hardcore, so he insisted that we butcher my deer in my brand new home that we just bought. I mean, we didn't even have curtains or furniture yet, so I'm not really sure what the new neighbors thought of us. But Matt was nice enough to bring over his whole family and a meat grinder and put them to work.
Crystal stands on a step stool, setting up a camera on top of the refrigerator.
My crowning achievement was just in the moment when she said there's a deer right there and I recognized there's one, that I reached to turn the camera on. Even before I went to move the rifle.
That's everybody's first question is,
Crystal, Matt, and Kate.
did you have the camera on?
In the kitchen.
And I said, Matt did, because he's smart.
When I bought my first home, I never thought the first thing I would do in it would be to butcher a deer in the kitchen. And yet, here we are. They spread a medical sheet over the kitchen island. Before you get out your meat, it's important to clean and sanitize your working area.
So if anybody that works in a hospital, tell them you're interested in these. Apparently, like, surgical kits come in these big bags. And everything from the tablecloth to the hoodies and the body things, as well as surgical tools. And oftentimes the doctors just need one thing out of it. But as soon as they break that outer seal, they have to throw away the rest of it.
Well, I'm just glad you didn't bring a used one.
I'm not setting up for the meat. After we got everything taped down, we got out our supplies.
This will be burger scraps, and scraps can just collect there.
Okay. Cutting boards, bowls, super sharp knives. Matt and Kate put on aprons.
An apron was not on my list of things to bring.
Because I want to feel smug and superior. And I really do right now.
The next step is figuring out what pieces you want to butcher your meat into. The island has 2 cutting boards, 2 bowls, and 2 sharp knives.
We're going to turn the backstrap into steaks. That's not a question. That's going to happen.
Oh, I was gonna make that into ground meat.
Thing that's going to happen.
Oh, I don't make the backstrap into ground
Do you end
hot
up?
dogs?
Do you want?
Sausage?
That's weird.
Do you want to do stews? Do you want some roasts? Do you want some big chunks of just meat that you might want to decide what to do with down the road?
How about, since I don't know what the options are, I tell you kinds of things that we usually eat.
Okay, that's good.
All right, so we eat steaks a lot.
Okay.
We eat burgers. We eat stir fry.
I would say for your first year, do what you're going to eat the most. The other thing is, my guess is you're going to want to share it with a few people.
Yes.
The easiest thing to share is burger. Say, here's a pound of burger, and those people can turn it into a stew or a chili or something like
Hamburgers
that.
Oh, they will be eating it in my house.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're not going to like gift somebody a pound.
Not yet. I don't have enough to just hand out to everybody.
See, I like how she's thinking. We didn't talk about this.
I want to see your faces when you eat my deer. I'm not like a seasoned hunter. I'm just like, there you go. I'm like, I want to watch you eat it. I think eventually I'd give it
So
away.
let's start with 2 front quarters. And let's begin with taking one out.
The quarters had spent a week aging in my brand new empty fridge. Venison meat is inside empty fridge. Basically, the natural enzymes break down the connective tissues in the muscles over time, which makes it more tender. You can tell it's been aging because a thick white skin begins to coat the outside of the meat.
I'm gonna have to disinfect this.
Crystal pulls out one of the pieces of
one
meat.
you nicked.
Matt takes it from her.
It is. So I'm gonna take this one. So this is the inside. I want that side down because that's the cleanest side.
Okay.
Nothing touched that.
It's placed on a cutting board. Crystal takes out another piece of meat.
That's this side down.
Matt smells the meat.
Smells very good now. So I encourage you to smell it.
Crystal smells the meat.
Get the look of it. As you learn these things, it'll help you down the road to determine one thing versus another. Dark colored bowl, scraps.
Okay.
This is burger. You're gonna screw them up at one point, so I'm gonna be watching.
Okay.
Step number 1, what we have to do is take off this first, this first layer, which involves just doing this.
Matt starts slicing thin layers off of the outside of the meat.
Just thinly removing the top layer, like so, to expose the unoxidized underneath.
Taking off the thick white layer that had formed took a while. Time lapse for me, not for Matt. Crystal works very slowly.
Good, now put a little tension on it. There you go. Good. And just shave it off. Beautiful.
Perfect.
Just like that.
Perfect is a strong description word.
I think it's fair.
Yeah, it is.
I took my time because I was terrified of ruining the meat somehow. But Matt and Kate reassured me that if I messed up any of the cuts, the meat would not be wasted. we'd just turn it into burger.
Matt, Kate, and Crystal all work together.
Once we'd collected all the bits for burgers, the kids took over.
Matt's daughter,
Ready?
Emma, walks to the garage.
It would never have occurred to me to let kids this young be in charge of industrial meat grinders, but they were amazing.
Who will do the plunging? You do the plunging. You're the best at
The meat
it.
grinder is in the otherwise empty garage. There's a bowl under one end.
Owen and Emma could have easily been the ones teaching me how to butcher, process, and grind. Their pride and skill in processing their own food was impressive to watch.
2 children start to use the meat grinder, supervised.
I am definitely recruiting these kids for my zombie apocalypse survival team.
Emma and Owen are young, so they're constantly supervised while using a meat grinder, even though they are more capable and more aware of safety than any adult I've ever met.
Owen smiles at the camera.
When it comes to packaging and storage, this family functions more like a team. Everyone has their role, and they're also having fun. Someday, I hope my family rolls like this.
The Dunphy family works together to create 1-pound balls of ground venison. Kate weighs the meat, hands it to Emma. Emma forms it into a ball, hands it to Owen.
Look how much meat that is.
Owen forms it into a better ball and puts it on saran wrap.
It's important to keep air out of your packages. Kate is an expert at preventing freezer burn. Her secret is to cling wrap the meat twice before ziplocking. A vacuum sealer would work great too. Just make sure to keep that air out.
The kids label the packages and place them into baggies.
And here is my final product. Dozens of meals. Organic, free-range, grass-fed meat I knew was sustainably sourced and humanely harvested.
Dozens of expertly packed ground venison packages on a counter. Crystal sits on a cliff.
You can absolutely get your meat processed by a professional if you don't have a hardcore buddy like Matt and his family. But it was really cool, once again, to see how my meat was being broken down. If that's the road you want to take, go ahead and do a quick Google search for meat processors in your area. Go ahead and give them a call first and ask them what their intake process is like. They all accept meat in a slightly different way. I'm interested to hear if you process at home or if you get it done by a professional, and why. Let me know in the comments below.
My first big game hunt, butcher and storage. Crystal stands in front of trees.
Hey everyone, thanks for following along on my big game hunting journey. Hunting license dollars are a super important source of funding for the wildlife conservation work that Colorado Parks and Wildlife does for all species in Colorado, not just the game species you can hunt. So we want to make it as easy as possible for you to buy a hunting license. If you've ever thought about going hunting or just considered the possibility, be sure to hit up our website or give us a call for more information. We'll link all the information in the YouTube description. If you like this video series and you want to see more videos that we make at Colorado Parks and Wildlife, be sure to subscribe on the YouTube link below. Thanks for watching.
Colorado Parks and Wildlife, live life outside.